project that we started a couple of years ago, about 6 years ago, called the Kulula project. And the Kulula program is a Swahili word that means to excel, right? The project was named and created by the people in the community. We started out by having a dialogue, a day of dialogue, about addressing the needs of blacks in Miami. To that dialogue, the number one factor that came from the priority list was about how do we ensure that we are building the young black folks here in Miami in a way that's going to promote their development in the long run, right? And they meant by like kindergarten and up. And so through that project, then we're able to say, okay, what is the best models for doing that, right? So we're talking about identity development of kids, we're talking about overall development of kids, we're talking about both psychologically, physically, and educational development, right, of their lives. And so taking that information, we are able to go back and look to the research to say, what do we know about kids' development? What do we know about kids' identity development process? What are the best mechanisms and principles for ensuring that whatever we do with kids, that we can document it, research it, evaluate it, and be able to test it to see what works for whom, under what conditions, right, and what is the overall outcomes, right? And so out of that came the Kulula project. That is an evidence-based, research-infused identity development curriculum geared towards kids of African descent. The name of the project was named by the community partner. We have an advisory board that is consisted of parents and kids who oversees the project. We have not only a community advisory board, but we also have an adolescent advisory board, right, that we meet with 4 times a year, and we have a responsibility to share with them what is it that we are doing, and they have a responsibility to tell us when we get it wrong, right? So from our flyers on, so when we're about to recruit the next group of kids and we create the materials for the flyers, our advisory board members review it first, and they tell us whether or not they think it's a go or not, whether or not the language in it is appropriate. They look to see the results of what we found the year before, to what extent we need to shift things a bit. What I'm really excited about is the fact that our community partners are beginning to understand how important it is to infuse a research or an evaluation component in the work that they are doing. Oftentimes, our community partners are able to do work because it's exciting, it's something to do, and to some extent it's very successful, right? But they don't really have any data to show, right? Does it work, and for whom does it work? And a lot of that had to do with not necessarily having the skills and the expertise to be able to do that. So through these kinds of projects, we are able to really demonstrate to them that research is not about, lots of statistics, right? That you can actually infuse research and evaluation component into your program, and in the long run, it allows you to really demonstrate not only to yourself, to your board, and to the participants, but also being able to really see to what extent is what you're doing effective and really having the kind of impact that you want for it to have. So it's hard for you to go into the West Grove or Liberty City or Overtown and say, I'd like to hear about Dr. Nicholas's identity development project, right? Because people will say, I can tell you about the West Grove Kulula project, because that's what it is. It's the West Grove Kulula project that is being implemented at Thelma Gibson Health Initiative, the Barnyard, right? But so it's not a University of Miami Kulula project, which is ideal, but we want the outcome to always be, right? That it's not so much a project that is linked to me, but it's a project that is embedded within the larger community.